Jeff Blair joins us now from the Blair and Barker podcast, which you can hear wherever you get your fine podcasts. Jeffrey, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm good. What do you think of Chris Bassitt?
Well, I hope that the fact that he hasn't spent much of his career pitching in two of the more pitcher-friendly ballparks, Oakland and Citi Field, I'm hoping that that success translates over to the Rogers Center. Of course, the Rogers Center is being reconfigured as a result of the renovations. But that was my one concern about Chris Bassitt. You know, there's not a lot of swing and miss stuff. He lives and dies in soft contact, but he has also been helped by, as I said, pitching in two real pitcher-friendly ballparks in Oakland and Citi Field. But you know, look, anything that keeps Mitch White and Yusei Kikuchi away from the sharp objects, I'm happy with.
Right, so let's walk this down a little bit, because I think that Jays fans, when they dig deep on the numbers, and listen, the original numbers are good: 15-9, 3.42 ERA, 30 starts with the Mets last year. But you're correct in that he pitches to soft, or he's trying to induce soft contact, and ends up getting himself in trouble. He can be a frustrating pitcher to watch if you're a fan of the team.
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing, you know, with Chris Bassitt is if you look at starters' innings pitched last year, right? Mm-hmm. These were the top 7 teams in starters' innings pitched last year, and you tell me what they all had in common: Houston, Cleveland, Seattle, San Diego, Philadelphia, the Yankees, and the Braves all went to the playoffs.
Right.
So I look at this acquisition. Alek Manoah gave him 196 2/3 innings last year. Chris Bassitt threw 181 2/3 innings. Kevin Gausman threw 174 2/3, and Jose Barrios threw 172 innings. I mean, if Barrios is better, and I think he will be better, I think this past season was an outlier. All of a sudden, you're looking at 4 pitchers, 3 of whom I think we'd say, 3 of whom are capable of going more than 190 innings pitched. Maybe touching 200 innings. And what that does is that mitigates against some of the weaknesses in your bullpen. It mitigates against some of the weaknesses in terms of middle relief. I mean, if you can get 7 innings out of 2 of your top 4 starters, you're going to be pretty successful. And you know, as I heard before I came in the air, the other thing this does is this buys him a little bit of insurance in case Jose Barrios doesn't rebound.
Right.
Like, Chris Bassitt's not going to be your ace, but 181 2/3 innings, which is a career high, I mean, that doesn't lie. And the other thing about Chris Bassitt is you would think at 34 years of age, because velocity isn't a big thing for him, you would think that his arm might age a little better. In other words, if he can do what he did this year, right, which is his fastball, I think, was 92, 94. There's no reason to think he can't maintain that for the next couple of years.
Right, he's a pitcher. All right, so let's ask about Kevin Kiermaier, because before this happened, about an hour and a half ago, Kiermaier was his top story in Jays land. Is that a 4th outfielder, or are they expecting more from Kevin Kiermaier?
I think he'd be maybe 3.5. If you want to look at it that way as an outfielder. You know, George Springer will be in right field. I mean, one thing we really haven't talked about is Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is coming off a hamate injury, a wrist injury. That is a notoriously problematic injury for a hitter. You know, just talk to guys like Eric Hinsky and Vernon Wells. I mean, it is a nagging injury. And I've felt all along that what Kevin Kiermaier does is, when healthy, he gives the Jays, at the very least, a platoon center field option that will allow George Springer to stay in right field. And if they do make another trade, and look, I really do think that they are going to sign another left-handed bat, somebody like a Michael Conforto. If they add that guy, then now you might be looking at games where Springer will play center, Gurriel will be in left, Conforto will be in right, or Kiermaier can play left. Like, there are any number of ways you can do this. But I do think this, you know, even in games that he doesn't start, 8th inning rolls around, Kevin Kiermaier is going to be in center field. He's still an above-average center fielder. And if the Jays lineup can somehow make up for the loss of Teoscar Hernandez, and I don't believe the Jays make that deal unless they're not 99.9% certain that they can make up that offense, then, you can just stick Kevin Kiermaier at the bottom of your order, and he's going to give you superior defense, and the pitchers are going to love having him behind him.
All right, so less than a minute left. I said off the top of the show that I thought that they would add another left-handed bat, just like you mentioned, and perhaps a Michael Conforto or the like. Is with less than a minute left here, do you think they're going to add another starting pitcher, or do you think the fifth starter, and listen, I'm worried about depth because it's never just 5, you need 6 and you need 7, but do you think it's just Mitch White and Yusei Kikuchi who are going to battle for that 5th spot?
I mean, you can sign anybody. I mean, there's still some arms out there that might be better than White or Kikuchi. I'm going to keep an eye on the Chicago White Sox and the Jays. The White Sox, we're looking at catching. They've got Liam Hendricks, and we know that Liam Hendricks almost signed here. So I think the Jays add another left-handed bat, and then they either add that lights-out reliever using a catcher to get that, or perhaps they do add another starting pitcher, a youngish starting pitcher.
Right, with a higher ceiling and a bit of a roll of the dice. Jeff, I know we had some troubles with the Zoom. Thanks for jumping on the phone with us. Really appreciate it, as always. You know that, my buddy.
No worry, boys. Technology's never my friend.
There is Jeff Blair here on Tim and Friends again, Blair and Barker, wherever you get good podcasts.